Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Johnny Girardi. I'm the founder and CEO of DataSelf. Today we'll talk about Sage X3, BI and Analytics with DataSelf and Tableau. So why should we talk about DataSelf and Tableau? Well, Sage X3 usually comes with a bundled or add-on BI, which works really well for a lot of clients. Many clients find the bundled BI perfect, and it's good. It's awesome. It's actually a great solution. But for some companies, they need something different. And what I want to talk about here is not to make a feature-to-feature comparison. Is more to show where we excel at, give some generic concepts about our solution, and if our solution is a better fit, then we should talk further. So again, the bundle BI solution from Sage is great. It's a great offer, but sometimes ours is a better fit. So let me talk how we're going to be covering our content today. The first thing I like to always talk about is generic BI and analytics concepts. Then I jump into how and why we do the way that we do our approach. Then I'll spend some time showing the product. I'll talk about some pros and cons, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Alrighty, let's get started. The way I like to talk about our solution is actually talking about the story of one of our clients, which actually is pretty typical. Most clients, when they come to us, the story revolves around usually the same overall issues. Not the specifics, but the overalls are the same issues. So this client of ours, it was a prospect a couple of years ago. The CEO called me and he said, Johnny, my organization is very data-driven. We love to look at our data before we make decisions. And we have many different systems, or we call data silos. We have an ERP system. We have a CRM system. We look at Google Analytics data for website visitors. We have a separate payroll system. We have social media. We have access databases and Excel spreadsheets. All of this data we need to use in our decision-making process. In my team, we have upper management, finance, sales, marketing. We're always looking at the data, and we spend a ton of hours every month, our IT, our accounting, and my team getting data, crunching, discussing to get information. And sometimes, we need to make a decision. We need a new report or new dashboard, and we don't have it ready, and then we have to either wait until we talk with a consultant, an IT person that can understand, what we're asking. So they go about it, they build a report, they bring it back. Typically it takes hours, sometimes days, even weeks. So either we have to wait until we get to the information, or we have to wing it. Either way, waiting or winging, it's not what we want. We want to be more self-sufficient. Can you help us? So that's what he's, summarizing his initial call, in which, again, is very typical. Most clients, when they come to us, they have the same kind of story. Reporting is complicated. It's slow. It's not timely. We need more empowerment to decision makers. We need it faster. We need it, anytime, anywhere. So I told him, well, so far, so good. I think we can help you a lot. But before I tell you how we do it, let me tell you what the challenges that you're facing, what they are, and how you can solve them regardless of the technology, regardless of the vendor, regardless of DataSelf. Maybe someone else is a better fit. So first of all, every time that your decision-making team asks for a new report or a modified report, there's typically three phases to go through to get this new report. The first is called the data preparation. Data preparation means the person that is going to build this report, the person needs to know where to find the data, the database structure, the tables, the fields, how to link them. This data preparation process is very technical, very complicated, and usually only consultants or IT people can do it. So very complicated, time-consuming. That's the data preparation. Once they find the data, the table, the fields, they link them, then they need to present the data the way that you want. So if it's a financial report, quarter to date, year to date, compared to last year, why not? Well, now we need to put in a format, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe some charts, build the actual report with the filters and calculations. Typically, this phase is also fairly technical. You'll need a person that has a lot of skills using the reporting tool to build the report properly. And then finally, this person will have to send the report to the actual person who requested the report, usually a business person who is not so technical. So it comes the data distribution stage. If it's only one person, simple, easy, no problem. Now if you need to send the report to 20, 30, 50 people, and every person must receive their own information, if it's a salesperson, only their own sales, then the distribution may become a very time-consuming, labor-intensive, and error-prone process. Is that what you're going through today? I asked the CEO, and he said, yes. I didn't know the terms, but yes, it's a lot of work, it's error-prone, so yes, absolutely. So I told him, well, let me show you how you can solve a lot of these problems from a generic standpoint. How can you automate to hopefully have most, if not all of these processes done automatically? So the first thing is you have all of these data silos, the ERP, the CRM, Google Analytics. Every time you need a report from a different system, it's a different person, it's a different process. Well, typically a data warehouse is one of the best ways to tackle the data preparation process. A data warehouse is a single data source. Sometimes you might have more than one, but overall, it's a single database that you can bring all of your different data. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You bring all the data into this data warehouse, and then you can start blending the data together. Whatever that is related, payroll with, with your services, with your ERP information, you can just blend the data warehouse. They're together. You can build business rules, and once you do it, the data preparation becomes something completely automated. Yes, it's technical to build and maintain the data warehouse. It's very technical, but once you do it and once you deploy it, it will automatically do all of these calculations, all of these aggregations and blending of data automatically. So quite often, a way to automate the data preparation process is by having a data warehouse that will consolidate all of your data silos. Then you need to use an analytics platform that will take care of the data presentation and distribution phases. Now, there are three main requirements that we recommend when looking for a great analytics platform. The first requirement is be sure that we will deliver information in different formats. Nowadays, some business people, they're always sitting on their desktop. Some people are mobile. They're going through the factory, whatever, they visit clients. Some people want to receive reports in a different way. So supporting desktop, web, mobile devices, as well as receiving emails, report by emails, they are usually very critical for today's environment. So you can support all of your users with their different business and lifestyles. So different ways to deliver information is a big requirement. Second, and probably the most important, a lot of the decision makers, they're not necessarily IT savvy. Computers are, are a tool they use, but they if it's not something very easy to use, they won't be able to do much. So the reporting platform, the analytics platform, should allow business users to open the reports anytime, anywhere, should be able to allow them to slice and dice their reports, drill down, download their data, and even build new reports from scratch. When there's a new question, they should be able to answer the question without calling for an IT person and waiting, or without winging it. So giving something really easy to use is really critical. The easier to use, the better. So that's the second requirement. The third is just speed. Today, who likes to wait? No one. So if reports are taking too long to run, and too long can be maybe 15 seconds, minutes, hours, usually it's not good. So be sure that the analytics platform delivers information in several different formats that is really easy to use and run reports really fast. Now, like as I mentioned at the beginning, the bundle option with Sage X3 meets many of these criteria, so it is also a very good platform. Before I jump into the next part of the presentation, I want to bring up a little poll here. I want to hear your opinion. So if you don't mind answering, what are your main reporting challenges? So please be sure to select all options that apply to your business, and be sure to click the submit button. Don't forget to click the submit button. All right, in 5 seconds, I'm going to close the poll. I'm closing the poll. Thank you very much. Let me share the results. So slow performance as access anytime, anywhere is the most popular. Thank you for your feedback. All right, let's move on. Now, let's talk about how we do it and why we do that we do our technology. I founded DataSelf about 11 years ago. My core team has been working together for 16 years. And when we founded DataSelf, the main vision from the beginning has been, let's find the best of the breed technology available in the Fortune 2000 world. Let's make it easy. Let's make it affordable to mid-sized companies. A lot of the offers in the mid-market, the mid-market BI tools, are inexpensive. They do many things really well, but typically they're not the best of the breed available out there. So what we do in a nutshell is we go to the Fortune 2000 world, we find tools that are really well supported, highly used, very refined, very fast. We make it work for you and without breaking the bank. That's what we do. Best of breed, make it work together for you. If you look at our current solution, I'm showing right now Gartner. Gartner is one of the most reputable companies doing technology assessment for Fortune 2000. And every February, they tell how the Fortune 2000 BI vendors are doing on this Magic Quadrant for BI analytics platform. Make a long story short, Tableau and Microsoft have been leaders, meaning the best, according to Gartner, for several years in a row. They're not perfect. They're not a magic wand, but boy, it's a great BI platform. What about these guys? What about DataSelf? Well, let me go back to the architecture that I was showing before. In this whole flow, for data warehousing, DataSelf uses SQL Server, which is one of the most rock-solid and well-supported data warehousing platforms out there. However, most of the other vendors, they use SQL Server programming to build and maintain the data warehouse. And we find that approach, while it works, is very labor-intensive, is very complicated, and is very expensive. You have to have very skilled people to maintain it. Instead, we have built our own ETL, which stands for Extraction, Transformation, and Loading. And with our ETL, we can deploy and maintain the data warehouse in a fairly code-free environment. Much easier, much faster. So that's one of the differences we have against other BI vendors out there. Then on the analytics platform, we use Tableau. And Gartner has rewarded Tableau the gold standard for analytics platform for Fortune 2000 companies for 4 years, for the last 4 years in a row. So Tableau has proven to be the easiest to use analytics platform, meeting those 3 requirements. delivers information in many different formats, desktop, web, mobile, by email. It's really easy to use. It's incredible how easy it is to use. And third, you run reports really, really fast. So really, really happy of being using Tableau as our analytics platform. So, we bring Fortune 1000 technology, we make it simple, we make it better. We've been doing this for, 16 years as a team. And over the years, we have learned how our clients using our platform for better reporting. And every time we see a new report that a client created that would be generic for our client base, we add to our out-of-the-box solution. If you look today, we have more than 5,000 reports, dashboards, and KPIs out of the box that plug and play. They cover pretty much all different business areas such as sales, purchasing, inventory, payables, receivables, financials, and whatnot. So there's a lot of great reports as a starting point. Not only easy to use, but there's a lot of reports as a starting point. And that's what we provide. Now, so people ask us, why Tableau? Why did we choose Tableau? We chose Tableau about 5 years ago, and back then, they were not a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. They were growing, but they were not yet a leader. And we look at them, we found them to be, again, deliver information in different formats, super easy to use. We were impressed, and they run things really fast. And pricing model kind of worked for the mid-market. So we adopted them. We started to use an OEM with Tableau. Well, eventually we learned why they were so successful, why they were so easy to use. Most other BI vendors, they were founded by software engineers who thought, hey, I can do a faster BI tool, a flashier, kind of more cool and whatnot, and then they created some product. Tableau actually started at Stanford University. Professors, the founders, they were professors, and they were studying how business people look at data and have insights from it. It's a process, it's a discovery process. So they used psychologists and graphic designers to study this process of how the mind of business people works. And then they come up with a study, and at the end they realize, we can make a software that will help decision makers to go through this journey. And then they hired the software engineers. So the whole beginning of the company started from the right perspective from my standpoint. Was looking at the problem, finding how to solve it, and then, well, let's create a software to do it. It's amazing. It's like fascinating the way that they started and how they've been really attached to this idea of insights. We need to give insights in an easy manner, and let me show you in a few slides how they do it. What should I do? We humans are very visual animals. If we weren't, maybe we weren't here as a species. But if you see the situation, you don't have to think. You just get the hell out of here, right? So what Tableau tries to do is this, not with snakes, of course, but with data. Let's talk about it. Rows and columns reporting, absolutely. Tableau DataSelf supports rows and column reporting. A lot of times people need to look at numbers by the penny, and absolutely we do that. Now, if I ask you, how many 9s are there on this table? If you're like most of us, you have to scan row by row to count, and eventually you'll get the number. What Tableau does is something like this. A subtle change to bold red. In a few seconds, you can tell there's about 10. So you shrink the time that it takes to get to the insight, so you have more time to decide, and most importantly, to act on your decisions. How about this table? We have product type, product, profit, sales, market. If I ask you which market has the biggest sale, which product's not so profitable? Again, if you're like most of us, eventually you get to the answer. What Tableau does quickly is something like this. Bigger bars, bigger sales, so you can tell Central is kind of the bigger market by sales. And profitability is in red, so I can quickly tell which ones are not so profitable. Again, shrink the time to get to the insight so you have more time to decide and to act on. Now, it's not about being just beautiful, flashy. It's about being insightful. This is a business. You want to be sure that your decision makers are having accurate insights. What about it? Well, let's talk about 3D charts, like a 3D pie chart. I find it very beautiful. I find 3D charts overall very beautiful. But are they insightful? Well, if I ask you, which slice is bigger, red or blue? Can you tell me for sure? When you put in 3D a chart, typically you may lose the perspective and you may not know exactly what you're looking at. So while beautiful, they are potentially deceiving. Pie charts overall charts should be in 2D, and when you can, put labels if you have to. In this case, even if you don't have the label on this 2D pie chart, you could tell that the red slice is definitely bigger than the blue slice. What my point is, well, Tableau does not support 3D charts because they can be deceiving. This is a business. You need to be sure that people are getting the right insight, and 3D charts don't help with that. Now, what if you want some 3D charts for whatever reason you want? Well, just export to Excel. It's super easy. In Excel, you can do whatever you want, or any other tool. But Tableau, by nature, it wants to be sure it is insightful and accurate, so it does not support 3D charts. It's a good reason. Alrighty, before we jump into the product presentation, I'm going to open another poll. So please let me know, what are your main reporting areas? Please click and click the submit button. Be sure to click the submit button. Five more seconds. Okay, I'm closing the poll. I'm going to share the result. So financials, inventory and sales, and a little bit of the others. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. All right, let's move on. Product presentation. Finally. This distribution company that I was talking about at the beginning, so eventually they acquired DataSelf. And what I'm going to show you now is what the CEO is doing and what he did himself when he acquired DataSelf. So he goes to these board meetings every month to show how things are doing. And before DataSelf, he was going to with a stack of paper to show the results of the company for last month and whatnot. And then one of the things he told me is, can you give me this information on my tablet so I can be on my tablet and be able to see the information? I mean, I hand out still the paper for people because some people still like paper, but I want to have my tablet and be able to, answer questions on the fly. And I said, absolutely. So what I'm going to show today is how he built some of the reports himself. One of the reports he built is this month's sales details, sales by customer, by product, invoice number, invoice date, things of that nature. Then they're doing marketing campaigns on the website, and he wants to see website visitors from Google Analytics blended with the actual sales. Then he's shipping to all over the US and Canada, so needs to see shipments by state and how big the deals are. And finally, some other reports. So let's go for the product. So right now I'm switching to the DataSelf Analytics Desktop client tool. Most of the things I'm going to be doing here can also be done using a web browser as well as mobile devices. We have native apps for Android as well as iOS, both for phones as well as tablets. When a person wants to build a new report from scratch, they come to let's say, to the desktop here, and then they choose which connector they want to work with. Here I have a few sample connectors, AR, GL, and whatnot. But all of these connectors, they pass to the data warehouse. We can have CRM information. We can have payroll information. We can have any data. They're all here. And then you just pick and choose what you want to work with. So I'm going to choose the revenues connector. And then I'm going to be building my first 3 reports. And now to build the reports, I need to learn how to pretty much drag and drop. My first report is, sales, detailed sales this month by customer, by product, invoice number, and whatnot. So let's get it done. So I want to see my customers. I come here. I find the customer list. I drag customer to my report. So these are all my customers, and I have about over 1,000 customers. I want to see sales. So I find sales in my measures, and I just drag and drop. Very easy. So this is a total sales for all my customers. I want to see sales this month. So let's put some time into my report. I'm going to take the invoice date and just drag and drop into my columns. So right now I see sales by year. Well, I want to see month. I can expand from year by clicking on the plus signal, and I go to the quarter level. If I click the plus signal, I expand from quarter, and I go to the month level. I can expand to weeks, days, hours if I'm capturing hours, fiscal periods, whatever the time bucket that you want to analyze. We have to set up that in the data warehouse. But once we have that set up on the user interface, a business person just needs to know how to expand, drag and drop, and build any report for any time frame. It's really impressive and easy to use once the data warehouse has been prepared for different structure analysis. All right, well, I have a lot of data here. I just want to see this month. Well, then I want to filter this report. I'm going to take the invoice date and drag and drop into my filters shelf. When I drag and drop over there, I have options. I can choose different time buckets or relative date, which I'm going to choose right now. And then with relative date, you can choose the time bucket, let's say years or months. I want to see this month report. So this month, and click OK. There it is. Now this report will always show this month, whatever the month is. And sometimes in the board meetings, a board member would ask what happened last month, last year, last quarter, whatnot. In the past, the CEO, if they didn't have the report, they would have to find information. I'll get back to you. Now on his iPad, he clicks on the filter. Hey, last month. There it is. Maybe the last, I don't know, 3 months or 2 months, whatever the number is. Just pick and choose. You get the answer right there on the spot. Very easy. All right, let's go back to this month. Well, I want to see customer, product, invoice number, invoice date, and whatnot. Well, it's all drag and drop. If I want to see product, I find the product. There it is. I drag and drop between customer and sales. So by customer, by product, I have sales. What if I want to see invoice number, invoice date? Anything. You just pick and choose. Invoice number is here. Drag and drop between customer and product. So there it is. Invoice date, same thing. I mean, any field, you just drag and drop. Many of our clients' users learn how to build reports by watching a presentation like this. If you know how to drag and drop, you can build a lot of reports by doing this. Drag and drop, create a filter, calculate, that's it. Very easy, very intuitive. It's really impressive. All right, so this was the first report. Second report was sales and website visitors. Well, now we have Google Analytics data and the ERP data. It must be blended. Well, the good news is my team worked with this company's IT and marketing team. We brought Google Analytics to the data warehouse and we blended in the data warehouse. Data preparation, we did that. Once we did that, the data is refreshed every day, automatically, completely hands-free. And then the CEO himself built this report I'm going to do right now. You want to see sales and website visitors together. So he took sales, he drag and dropped them to the rows, so total sales. He added invoice dates to the columns. So I'm seeing sales by year. and then he chose the month level instead. So same sales through the whole company history. Now website visitors, the CEO doesn't need to know how to connect to the data and blah, blah, blah. No, it's all behind the scenes, the data warehouse to care. What the CEO needs to do is drag and drop. So take the website visitors, drag and drop my report. So these are website visitors. Let's make a bar so they are easy to tell and make it different than the rows. And then finally, he put on a dual axis. Look at that. Awesome. Website visitors, orange bars, sales, blue lines, and now they can analyze this, anytime, any day, and they get the information ready. This report alone was consuming about 2 days of work before DataSelf. Every month they have to, IT and marketing, copy and paste, export to Excel, massage the data and whatnot. Now this, it's completely automated, the data preparation. The CEO built the report himself, and now the report is available to anyone to access that have access to this report. The data is always automatic and refreshed. Really impressive. The last report I want to build is geography analysis. So you can put on a map any geography component, addresses and whatnot. So in this case, he chose the customer address. It could be shipped to, it could be a location, whatever it is. He chose customer state. And then he chose invoice sizes, how big the deals are, and he wants to see sales. And then he told the tool, put this on a map. And there it is. We see on a map. Just center it, make it a little bigger, and make the bubbles a little bigger. So in this case, bigger bubbles, bigger sales, and the bubbles are sliced by colors that represent the aggregation of small, medium, large invoices. In a few clicks, the CEO built this. Now the CEO goes to the board meetings with an iPad, with a tablet, an iPad in his case, and he wants to put these 3 reports together on a dashboard. So now he clicks on New Dashboard, and then he just needs to drag and drop. Hey, I want to see the map, drag and drop the map. I want to see the trend analysis, drag and drop. Let's put it at the bottom. And then the revenues report on the right corner. Just drag and drop, and you build the report. In a few minutes from scratch, a report before was taking a lot of time. The CEO built himself. And now when he goes to the board meetings, sometimes a board member asks, hey, I'm going to Texas and California. How are you doing over there? In the past, well, the CEO will have to make notes. I'll get back to you. Now, with his iPad, he can just, using his finger, oh, California? Sure, California and Texas. When he lets the finger go, the whole dashboard changes to reflect how we're doing in those 2 states. And then he can take this, export to a PDF, and email on spot to the person who has the question, what's the next question? So very impressive. You can have this dynamic analysis, answer question on the fly. So again, shrink the time to get to the insight, more time to decide, more time to act on your decisions. All right. Now, what I just showed you is how easy it is to build the reports and dashboards from scratch. And again, you do not need to be an IT person. We have several of our clients, business users, the CEOs, salespeople and whatnot, that do this themselves. Of course, some business people, they don't want to do it because they are so busy, they don't bother. Someone else close to them will do it for them, will do the reports for them. But overall, whoever wants to learn, they can. The tool is really really easy and really fast. Now, most users will consume reports using a web portal. So they log to the portal using a web browser or a mobile device. And when they log to the portal, they'll have only the reports that they have access to. So if I'm a salesperson, I would only see sales dashboards. If from the finance team, I only see finance. If I'm the big boss, I can see everything. So you can control what they can see. Now, when they open the reports, let's say I'm a salesperson and I open this report here showing my customers by top changes last year, top growth and declines last year. This report is the same, let's say, for all salespeople, But if I open this report and I'm the California rep, I only see California information. If I'm from Florida instead, I only see Florida. If I'm the big boss, the VP of sales, I see the top customers across all territories. So the system can control what data is rendered based on your user credentials. Now, and you can have a lot of reports here. I have like 1,500 in this example. There's a lot of things. Anyhow, let me show some financials here. So let me search for financials, and let me open this particular report here. This is just like a financial example, a financial dashboard example, where I have some KPIs by location or office. And suppose I'm the CFO, and I click on the Atlanta office, and the person who built this report controls the user experience. Let's say maybe you only can see a report, you can't change anything, or you can drill down in certain ways. So in this example, if I click on the Atlanta box, it gives me 2 drill down options. Maybe it'll be only one. When I click, I drill down automatically. Maybe I have 5, 10 options. The person building the report defines the option of drill down in where you go to. So in this case, when I click this balance details, I go into a completely different report. In my example, is still a financial report only for Atlanta, but it could be anything else. It could be a payroll report. It could be a Google Analytics report. The data is all in the data warehouse. Now, when you're jumping from one place to another, it's all there. You can create reports that you can jump from one way to another. You have completely freedom to do that. So in this case, I jump in this report, and then I can slice and dice the report and change and whatnot. Now, if I'm a regular user, I have all of these possibilities that are already pre-configured. I cannot break them. They're just there. So I cannot break them. Now, if I'm a power user, I will have the edit button. So as a power user, I can click the edit button, and now I can change my reports. So let's say I want to take this report here, and I want to add, I see GL segment 2 and 1. I want to add GL segment 3. I could be doing this on a web browser or mobile device. I come here, I find segment 3, and I just drag and drop, maybe at the end of the list. There it is, segment 3, or maybe at the beginning of the list. Any drag and drop. So segment 3, 2, and 1. The point is, this tool is very easy to use and will allow your decision makers to find their answers anytime, anywhere, without assistance from IT people. Again, empowering decision makers to become self-sufficient. Being easy to use is one of the most important requirements of an analytics platform. And boy, Tableau does a great job with that. I'm not going to save it. The last thing I can do also is, hey, what if I want to receive this report in my inbox every day, every week, whatever the schedule is? I can say subscribe. I can choose the schedule. I have some sample, let's say Friday, and I click subscribe. Now, every Friday, 6 p.m., I got an email in my inbox with this report refreshed with all the latest information, and if I click on the email, it will jump back into this portal, and if I'm a power user, I can start to slice and dice and whatnot. So again, you need to give freedom of choices for your decision makers to get data, slice and dice it anytime, anywhere, in the way that they want it. Alrighty, so that was the product presentation. I hope you found it informative and cool. Let me go back to the next part here, and let's talk about some pros and cons of the technology we discussed, and particularly our approach as well. Pros and cons of data warehousing. What are the cons? First of all, it requires skilled people to build and maintain it. So usually expensive people. And if you are going to be building yourself, hiring programmers like most people do, be sure to retain these people, because it's hard to find good programmers. And once you find them, if they leave and you have to hire someone else, the new team might start to write things all over again, and it becomes a very expensive process. So a con is, you require skilled people. With DataSelf, because we remove a lot of the programming, we minimize significantly this problem, but still you need skilled people in data warehousing. Second is most data in the data warehouse is not real time. There's some pros and cons to that, but overall, most data is not. You can do real time, yes, you can, but usually most data is not real time. Finally, it requires additional investment. Depending how you do it, it might be a little, it might be a lot, but overall, it will take more money than just if you don't use a data warehouse. What are the pros? Well, you guarantee a single version of the truth. All data must pass through the data warehouse. The people maintaining the data warehouse will be sure that all your rules, all your metrics, all your KPIs are properly calculated. So when you're talking about some kind of growth and revenues and whatnot, every report will show the same information. If you don't have a data warehouse, you may have different reports claiming to have the same metric, but built out of different rules, and you're comparing apples to pineapples. The data warehouse guarantees or facilitates that when you're looking at reports, all the information, all the metrics are coming from the data warehouse, so you have a single version of the truth. So it's a very important benefit. Second is it can bring all of your data silos and make it a single platform for all your reporting needs. Now you don't need to go for different systems for different reports. Everything comes from the data warehouse. Finally, with data warehouse, reports will run usually super fast and will be much easier to build than if you don't use a data warehouse. How about pros and cons of Tableau? Some cons. It's a standalone product. Tableau is not natively built into your Sage product or other products. So usually, you'll go to an outside web browser and whatnot. It can be inserted, absolutely. The web views can be inserted into your, let's say, Sage and other products, but it takes effort. So it's not natively built in. It's a standalone product. Some popular visualizations are not built in. If you want to see 3D charts, you have to export to Excel. But the good news is, well, Tableau only delivers insights. There are charts that are more accurate and more insightful. So, but some of the visualizations are not built in, such as 3D pie charts, 3D charts. And it costs money. Tableau is not too expensive, but it will require more investment. What are the pros? The most important, ease of use. It's incredible when you compare Tableau reporting, ease of use, versus pretty much any other reporting tool out there. It is amazing how Tableau does a great job in ease of use. And I think primarily because the company started with that study in Stanford, and they have been very abide by the vision of making something easy, making something intuitive for decision makers. So really easy to use. It runs reports really fast. When you put the data warehouse and Tableau together, most reports will run in seconds, regardless of the size of the database. And again, the focus is on beautiful insights. So you'll get insights, not only fluffy views. And standalone product, I think, actually is a pros. I also list it as a con. Why? Well, when you use a reporting platform like ours with Tableau, what you're going to realize is many of your users that are not in your Sage, that are not in Google Analytics, that are not in CRM, whatever, they also need Tableau. So having the product standalone that anyone can open, that anyone that you want to give the rights to, is a great benefit. You can insert the Tableau views into, let's say, a CRM application, into your ERP application, into anything else, but you can completely work as a standalone product by itself. So that's also a pro. Now, should you build your solution or should you buy it? Pros and cons. What if you build your own? So some cons. First is costly. I mean, you can build your own analytics solution from scratch, data warehousing, absolutely you can. Typically, you have to find the right people. They're going to be working usually months or years to build it from scratch. It's going to be costly. It's going to be slow. And be sure that if you go to this approach, retain those people. Because if you need to maintain the solution in 2-3 years and you don't have the same people who build it from scratch, you might have to redo a lot of it all over again. So building your own can be a long-term challenging because of retaining the skilled talent. Pros, well, everything is designed specifically for your needs from the beginning. You have control. Only the things that you need have been built. So some good pros on that regard. What if you buy a solution off the shelf like ours and then you customize? Well, there's a higher license cost, so you're getting more value, so there's more cost on the licenses. And usually it's tied to a platform, like in our case, we use SQL Server and Tableau, so you got to be working with those. In our case, the good news is SQL Server and Tableau are one of the best out there, so not too shabby, work with one of the best. But again, you are tied to a platform. It's a con. Pros, well, everything can be customized specifically for your needs. Even though there's a lot of things out of the box, like we have 5,000 reports, maybe you only need 50 or 200, and the rest we can scratch. Sure, scratch them. Just use what you need. But the starting point is much better. There's much more things as a starting point than building from scratch. Speed. Most of our clients get the solution deployed and a lot of the value in literally days of work. In a few days of work, sometimes people get 2,000 reports out of the box that show great insights. So getting quick return on investment is really impressive when you're using off-the-shelf solution. Overall, a solution like ours, is easier and faster to support in the long term because we have built in a way that you can maintain it yourself, and if you need our support, we'll do it for you. We've been using best practices for 16 years, so when you get a solution like ours, it's using the best data warehousing techniques available, the best Tableau techniques available, all integrated with your Sage product, CRM, and so forth. So overall, the total cost of ownership becomes lower than if you build yourself because of these benefits. Alrighty, so what's next? Well, you can send us your data and we can do a test drive. We can show you DataSelf Analytics with your own data. So contact me if you're interested in doing a test drive. Most clients that do a test drive with our solution, they buy our solution because they're impressed how fast and how easy things get. So if you don't know, send us the data. We'll do the test drive. If you're close to place an order, and if you order by September 30th, we have the special of 2 power users for free. Before I open the Q&A, my last question, my last poll is, what would you like to do next? So let me open this poll. And I'm going to launch it. So please answer your question. And be sure to click the submit button. All right, 5 more seconds. Thank you. I'm going to close the poll, share it. It's pretty much the same across the board. Thank you for your feedback. All righty, questions and answers. Please use the GoToMeeting chat panel or chat panel to ask questions. I want to check if we have any questions here. Yes, we have questions. Question from Beth. How's the cost of DataSelf compared to Sage Intelligence? Beth, thank you for your question. Well, I don't like to compare because I might not know specifics of pricing of them. I can give you some qualitative information about cost of DataSelf versus Sage Intelligence from past competing situations we've been to. Overall, from a license standpoint, it's easy to talk because we are more expensive. So yes, our licenses are more costly overall. At least as a starting point, our licenses are more costly overall because we think we deliver a lot more value. There's a lot more reports. Tableau, in our perspective, is a more refined tool. And the whole framework is easier and faster, so we charge more. From a service standpoint, is a trickier question because the only way to know is, if you sell both systems to the same client and go to the process. That has never happened before. What we have seen in several instances in competing situations is that even though our licenses cost is higher, our services is lower because we can more quickly tackle many issues. So many circumstances, the initial cost or investment is about the same because in our system, a lot of things are easier and faster. But that's my opinion based on prior some competing situations we've been to. I would say it's hard to compare services unless you do the same thing. But overall, that's my opinion. Prices were definitely more expensive. Services, my experience opinion is we can do things faster, much more quickly, more efficiently, and sometimes that offsets the license cost. And if you want to know more specifics about our pricing, we can talk on a one-on-one and I can share our pricing with you. Pat, thanks for your question. Next question is from Natalie. Is SEI on Gartner's Magic Quadrant? Okay, Natalie, thanks for your question. Let me go back to the Gartner Magic Quadrant. So this is the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant from February 2016. The answer is no, SEI is not on the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Is that good or bad? Gartner is one of the most reputable companies doing technology assessment, yes. Why they're not assessing SEI, I don't know. There are some other vendors also that they don't assess. So, I don't know. I just can tell no, it's not. Why? I wouldn't know why they're not. I can only tell, if you look at this Magic Quadrant from Gartner and read all of these vendors and read Gartner's assessment, it's a really great assessment overall. And overall, we agree with many of their points. One of the things I can talk to you about, not specifically on the Gartner Magic Quadrant question, but why I believe our solution for you clients and for you resellers, it's great, and I think is better in a way than SEI. Again, my opinion is even with BI, even with an easy to use tool as what we have, it takes, let's say 80% of the reports takes 20% of the time to build. It's amazingly easy to build new reports and slice and dice. It's really easy. Now, the other 20% of the reports are usually more sophisticated, a lot trickier to build. So it's not only drag and drop. You need to really know the dial and how to tweak and how to build things. And then quite often, to have this knowledge, usually you need the experts that will help you with those more sophisticated reports. Well, we've been using this platform with Tableau for 5 years. And most of the time when we don't know how to do something, and this from the beginning, as we started embrace Tableau from the beginning, every time that we didn't know how to do something, our first level of support is Google, 24/7. We just go to Google, we open, and we ask a question. We say, let's say, Tableau, I don't know, moving average. There you go, search. And usually you'll find several posts telling how to build moving average. So most of the answers of how to do something is answered in Google. Someone already had a question, someone already posted, and you can have the answer. So having a platform that has such a great resource online is incredibly valuable. Try to do something like this with other competing products. And you'll find it quite often you have to call an expert of an expert until you get the answer, or spend hours until you figure it out. Having a tool like this is incredible because not only is it super easy to use, but the community and the amount of people using it is so great that tech support is usually self-service. 24/7, you just Google it. All right, folks, we're running out of time. I see some other questions here, but I'll wrap it. Let me put my page here. I hope you found this webinar informative. It's being recorded, so we'll be sending an email with the recording link. If you want to discuss, if you want to talk about DataSelf and any other thing, more specific comparisons, feel free to call me. This is my cell phone, my email, and our website. I hope you have a great Thursday. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.